Hello everybody, today we're going to be doing a rogue penetrating shot leveling build utilizing the Codex of Power. If you don't know what that is, if you go through and you go to a dungeon, you complete it, it's going to unlock a legendary aspect in your Codex of Power. Not all of them are in here, but you will have access to min-rolled versions of some of them, so that's what we made this build out of, just to make sure that anybody using this can guaranteed get this build while they are leveling whenever legendaries are a lot more sparse. So let's go ahead and hop on into it. So first off, we are going to be using Aspect of Might. This is going to make your basic skills give you 20% damage reduction. Then we are using Aspect of Disobedience. You gain 25% stacking armor buff that goes from 0.25% all the way up to 25%. I think it stacks up to like 100 times. Then we have Aspect of the Expectant. Attacking enemies with a basic skill is going to increase the damage of your next core skill cast by 5% up to 30%. Then we have Aspect of the Protector. Damaging an elite enemy grants you a barrier, absorbing some damage for 10 seconds, and it can happen once every 30 seconds. Then we have Eluding Aspect. Becoming injured while crowd control is going to grant you Unstoppable. This is going to be a good way to break out of CC because we have Dash. So in the event something goes wrong, this will proc, and then you can just dash out, heal up, whatever you need to do. Then we have Trick Shot Aspect. So this is kind of the bread and butter of the build. This is going to be the main aspect that you are going to want to have because it increases penetrating shots damage by quite a bit. And, well, in a way, I guess I would say it increases its effect by quite a bit. Whenever penetrating shot damages an enemy, 2 additional arrows split off to either side. These side arrows deal 20% of penetrating shot's base damage and do not split. So this makes penetrating shot really good when you're fighting groups of enemies because it pierces through all of them, and for every single one it hits, it's going to split. So you'll see moments, like especially if you're fighting like a bunch of little spiderlings, where you'll make like 6 penetrating shots out of one go. And when you have like poison imbuement on it or shadow imbuement, it makes it even crazier. So moving on, we are going to have Aspect of Arrow Storms. This is going to make your marksman skill hits have a 10% chance to create an arrow storm. So because you're going to have so many penetrating shot hits sometimes, it's actually going to proc this a decent amount. And when you also combine this with your shadow clone also casting penetrating shot, and also being able to proc your arrow storms, you're going to see some pretty big ultimate CD burst with this. Actually, to the point where I know one time when I did this, it looked like I had fired off an arrow barrage, even though I don't even have that skilled. And then we have Aspect of the Ravenous. Killing a vulnerable enemy is going to give you 50% increased energy regeneration for 4 seconds. So we actually do have access to vulnerable with this build very easily, so this is pretty good for getting energy back. And then your imbuement skills have a 20% increased potency against vulnerable enemies. So if you are fighting something that's vulnerable, which your Forceful Arrow is going to make things vulnerable every 3rd cast, so it'll help, especially when you're doing like single target boss stuff. It'll help your imbuments get more effectiveness to that. Then we're going to have, when you Aspect of Unstable Imbuments, when you cast an imbuement skill, it causes an explosion around yourself, applying the imbuement effects and dealing 118 damage. So when you do this, this is also another way to apply vulnerable, because whenever this explodes, I believe it makes everything vulnerable. So, and it also will apply some poison to everybody as well. So it's pretty cool. And then we have basic skills gain 15% attack speed. Going on to specializations, we're going to be using combo points. This is kind of since you make things vulnerable on the 3rd cast, this is going to combo well with your combo points. So you auto attack 3 times, and then you penetrating shot. And then since things are vulnerable, it'll help increase the damage of your penetrating shot, and in turn might even make more things vulnerable. So, and on top of that, if you don't know what the combo points do, it increases the damage of I think it's your non-basic skills, I believe. Yeah. So our core skills consume combo points for additional effects. Yeah. So this specifically affects your combo points and your imbuments. I believe it depends on the ability which one that you can imbue. So like you can't imbue your ultimate, but you can imbue your dash, for example. So you'd have to just look at the abilities if you want to know which one you can or can't. And I believe most basic skills are unimbuable, if not all of them. So it's mainly just going to be your penetrating shot that's going to be imbued. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop on over to the abilities. Alright, just so you can see what the full build would look like going from 1 to 50. Forceful arrow, enhanced forceful arrow, primary forceful arrow. Just makes it pierce through vulnerable enemies, and every third cast makes the enemy vulnerable for 2 seconds. Moving on, 12% damage reduction. Penetrating shot. This is obviously the bread and butter of everything, so you want to try to max this out first. So penetrating shot, enhanced penetrating shot, and then improved penetrating shot. This is going to increase its critical strike chance and also increase its damage per enemy that it pierces. So generally speaking, as you are leveling up, you want to focus on maxing out your main damage skills and then come back and then start picking up passives after you have all of the skills that you're going to use. So you'd go here, pick this up, come down here, pick up dash. Then if you run into a spot where you need points to unlock your imbuements, then you would come back, you would max out penetrating shot, come back down here, pick these up, pick these up. Oh, that's not correct. That's right. This should be here. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, then you come back down here, you pick this up, you pick this up. This doesn't do a crazy amount of damage whenever you level it up, so I don't recommend leveling this up, but definitely max out Poison Trap. You can see it goes up by like 10% each time. So yep, then you come down here, you pick this up, and then you start picking up passives until you get to your precision. So anyway, but yeah, so that's kind of how like the general guide is, but just to kind of go over what each of these do. So you have Sturdy, gain 12% close damage reduction. Rogues are pretty squishy, so stacking damage reduction is pretty good. Rugged, gain 15% damage reduction against damage over time effects. This is going to help you if you ever get crowd controlled. You get 12% damage reduction in tandem with your topazes in your gear, which will help you. So if you ever get CC'd, you'll actually get a bunch of damage reduction. Since we're using a bow here, you have increased damage to vulnerable enemies. And then dash, enhanced dash, methodical dash. This just increases, so enemies damaged by dash take 15% increased critical strike damage from you for 5 seconds. So it is pretty good if you can dash through enemies, and then dealing damage to crowd controlled enemies while with dash reduces its cooldown. And once you get down here, your shadow damage has up to a 10% chance to stun, so you'll have some stun effects like slows and stuff like that. Then you can get 18% increased damage to healthy and injured enemies. Then you can get 9% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. Come down here, you have the stun. Then you also have a way to generate energy back whenever you kill an enemy with shadow damage. You have shadow imbuement. Obviously, so this will apply vulnerable to things, and then whenever they die, it'll make things explode, which will apply vulnerable to all of them through the blended shadow imbuement. And then you also have 15% critical strike chance against injured enemies affected by the shadow imbuement. And then for the poison imbuement, you have enhanced poison imbuement, which increases the duration, which increases the damage it does. And then blended poison imbuement. So critical strikes with poison imbued skills deal 75% increased poison damage. Then you have this down here, deadly venom. You deal 9% increased poisoning damage, and then for each enemy you have poisoned, you can get a stacking attack speed buff, which is pretty nice. Imbued skills gain 9% crit chance. And then Shadow Clone, this is going to mimic everything you do, which is going to be pretty sweet. Your Shadow Clone deals an additional 20% of your damage. So instead of like being 60, because I think it's just, yeah, so it'll do 80% of your damage now instead of just 60. And you also have Unstoppable for 5 seconds after casting Shadow Clone. So that is a way to give you Unstoppable. And then you have Innervation, up to a 10% chance to gain 8 energy. And then Precision, critical strikes with marksman skills grant you Precision. You gain increased crit chance per stack up to 20%. So pretty much like you're just gonna, you'll eventually get a stacking crit chance bonus until you crit, and then it'll reset the crit chance bonus. So, and then whenever you reach maximum stacks, it's going to guarantee it, plus increase the critical strike damage by 40% and then consume it. So it's pretty cool. Pretty sweet way of doing it. Also, we are running the combo point specialization, so you want to make sure that you're auto attacking 3 times or basic skill attacking 3 times before launching the penetrating shot, so it gets more damage. Alright, well that's it for the skills. Let's hop on into some gameplay. Alright, let's hop on into a dungeon here in a Champion's Demise. You can start doing Champion's Demise around level 17, I believe, is when you'd be like within 3 levels. Alright. 1, 2, 3, and then come over here, 2, 3. So you can see we just kind of create arrow storms. And then you get 2 that pop off from the side just from hitting one enemy, so not bad. And once things get more clumped up, you'll see more effect, like right here. That, 2, 3, boom. You can see it has pretty decent AoE burst to it. Alright. And you can also keep attacking more than 3 if you want to stack up your aspect of the expectant. Yeah, I didn't even have that imbued, and that did pretty good. And then spiders are probably the craziest once you get like a big line of those. So here is an elite. Here, let's go over here and get... There we go. And then whenever you kill things with the shadow imbuement, it causes an explosion. So that's why you kind of see like the chain death there, is that once it one-shots one enemy, sometimes it sets off like a chain reaction. And you want to be careful about dashing though, because you don't want to waste your imbuement on a dash necessarily. I mean, sometimes it won't matter. Like if you're in a bad spot, obviously you want to use it. So because we have a pretty large group of enemies here, yeah, cool. I like using Shadow Clone. It makes for a pretty cool effect because you start firing off all kinds of stuff. And then if you get lucky, you create like a billion arrow storms, and it just has a really, really cool effect to it. Alright. Continuing on. I tried out Barrage a little bit too, but I wasn't really a fan. It didn't seem like it had the damage, and the legendary you can get for it in the Codex isn't too good, but it wasn't too bad early on, because penetrating shot doesn't get super good until you get it, but it's definitely way better once you get once you actually unlock that Codex of Power aspect for it. I think I should just die from poison. Poison imbuement just does so much damage. Oh my gosh, die. Who knew? Basic skills don't do that much damage. There we go. And see there, we got like 9 splits. Oh. Okay. Oops. That guy's gonna die from poison, but we'll hit him again once more for good measure, just to get him to explode. And you're kind of just rotating back and forth between your imbuements here. And another option, if you don't want the arrow storms, is you could also run like Aspect of Retribution and such. Oh man, what am I doing? I done went and passed this. Didn't put this up. Whoopsie. Whoa, whoopsie. It's okay though. Lucky for me, I have dashes. And we continue on. Oops. I went and wasted one of my vulnerables. Oh well. Bang, two. Oop. Yeah, and careful not to whiff any of your penetrating shots. I've definitely done that a couple times. It's not a crazy big deal, but alright. Should be a lot of stuff in here. Cool. Too bad. All right. Okay. Once I get that shadow stuff on them, it will cause them to explode when you kill them. So you don't necessarily have to kill them with the shadow imbuement. Not too bad. Two. Alright. Yeah, rogues are kind of squishy, but their leveling experience isn't too bad, that's for sure. It's not like they're particularly amazing or anything, but they just have so much mobility. Feels easy to get out of sticky situations. Alright, Greed Shrine. Alright. Go in here. Alright. There we go. Champion's Demise isn't a super bad spot to level up either. If you're just trying to get ults up. I don't recommend necessarily just perma-doing this dungeon over and over again. It can get kind of boring, but there are other ones you can do too. You can go to like Blind Burrows, Iron Hold, Ruins of Eridu. There's actually, I think Mercy's Reach and Fractured Peaks isn't too bad either. And alright. Cool. Keep on keeping on. 2, 3. We'll just go ahead and get this guy out. Wait for the poison. Too bad. Oh. You can pretty much kite everything around to oblivion with this, it seems like, so. And 1, 2, 3. Oh. And should be dead here. There it is. Alright, well, that's it. Penetrating Shot Rogue. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.